Hi, welcome back to West Coast Geeks. I'm your host, Joaquin. How we doing, people? Today's video is a Dungeons and Dragons video, the top 10 uncommon magical items for new players 1 through 3rd, and with me always is my boy Greg.
This isn't magic.
I know this isn't magic. We're branching out. We're doing D&D.
What is this? Where am I?
No, well, apparently in this virtual world here, we're talking about uncommon magical items for Dungeons and Dragons. Don't you see the pile of treasure?
Yep.
So, we're going to talk about the 10 best items, uncommon magical items that you can give to your party at first level. And I would put these as more of like a bonus item once every 3 encounters, so to speak. And you tailor these items to your group. So I brought Greg here with me so we can, go over the items. So our first item up is the Pearl of Power. The heck? No, 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 don't do that. Okay, cool. It's like, damn you, mouse. Stop it. So the Pearl of Power is a wondrous item, uncommon. It does require attunement by a spellcaster. While this pearl is on your person, you can use an action to speak its command word and regain one expanded spell slot. If the expanded spell slot was a 4th level or higher, the new spell slot is 3rd level. Once you use this pearl, it cannot be used again until the next dawn. So, what do you think of this item, Greg?
Uh, Good. Maybe even a bit overpowered, but it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, especially at first level, this might at first seem like it's overpowered, but some of these D&D encounters can be crazy, and we're talking like 5th edition, where they've even toned down things, and you can still TKO your party, you know, or TPK. So, you know, I don't have a problem giving this out. It's only a once a day. It just gives them one extra spell slot, which could be a big difference.
Yeah. Um, I I would say not to give it out if you have like a wizard and a sorcerer, because it kind of makes the power level of those two classes way in favor of the wizard then.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to. First of all, you're gonna have to know your group. See who's min maxing, and um, like I said, this is really for like 1st through 3rd. So by 2nd or 3rd level, you can easily give them this because then they're facing bigger threats. All right. So the next item, number 9, is the bag of tricks. And what I've always loved about the bag of tricks is it's so versatile. Now, I would only recommend 1 through 3rd of just giving them the gray bag of tricks. So wondrous item. It's uncommon, no attunement. The ordinary bag made from gray, rust, or tan cloth appears empty. Reaching inside the bag, however, reveals the presence of small furry objects. The bag weighs a half a pound. You can use an action to pull the fuzzy objects from your hand and throw it up to 20 feet. When the object lands, it transforms into a creature you determine by rolling a d8 and consulting the table corresponding to the bag's color. See the monster manual for the creature's statistics. The creature vanishes the next dawn or when it's reduced to 0 hit points. This is pretty. The creature is friendly to you and your companions, and it acts on your turn. You can only use a bonus action to command how the creature moves and what action it takes on its next turn, or to give it orders such as attack your enemies. In the absence of such orders, the creatures act in a fashion appropriate to its nature. Once 3 fuzzy objects have been pulled from the bag cannot be used again to the next dawn. How do you like this item for number 9?
It's pretty good. You come up with some odd situations. I like maybe tinkering with the list of what animals you can get if you're the DM. Add something like a skunk is one of the things that happens.
So yeah, let me read the
To,
list real quick.
just
So
to mix things up and make things more entertaining
yeah, you could.
sometimes.
There's so on the gray bag of tricks, weasel number one, giant rat number two, badger number three, boar number four, five is a panther, six is a giant badger, seven is a dire wolf, and eight is a giant elk. So yeah, if you wanted to mix things up and substitute like a weasel or a giant rat, like Greg was saying, and a skunk, or a low CR creature, that's not an issue. What's funny is when people use these in the middle of a combat, and I've seen them like use this and summon a giant elk that just appears and takes up half the room that they're fighting in. Which I think is funny. I'm like, oops. So I've seen like recommendations where at the beginning of each day they just throw all three creatures out to see what they get. What do you think of that tactic, Gray? I mean, Greg.
What, really? That will last all day?
Mm-hmm. Until they die.
Oh, that's that's a bit cheesy, cheesing it,
Yeah, because it says
in my opinion.
the creature vanishes the next dawn. So again, for like low level, even first level, sometimes you just need some extra companions if you're out in the woods or if you're going into a dungeon or whatever. These extra creatures can help you out. Excuse me.
Okay, I
Also,
mean, I suppose it's fine. Seems a bit like
what'd you say?
I guess it's fine. It's in the rules, but it's a bit cheesy to just get them out. It'd be more fun just to have them appear instantly. You have no idea what you're getting. A bit of the chaos and fun of it.
Yeah, I mean, and to me, the whole throw all three is that's when you get into like metagame type players. I mean, most of the time you're reaching into this bag and you just throw out and see what happens, and sometimes it's useful at that moment, sometimes it's not. But to throw out all three, then you know what you have, and you can plan accordingly. So it's a unique item. I also think it's just a fun item to give the players and see what they do with it. Because they could do that and they could roll up like a giant a giant elk or a dire wolf, and they're going into the city. Now what are they going to do? Or they're
Sell
going into
a
a town.
sell a giant elk and a dire wolf to some
Oh.
local villager, and then they disappear at the end of the day.
That's something Greg would do. I love you, buddy. He's always doing that. Greg is a player in my group right now, and he's played in several different campaigns. And he usually plays a mage, and he's right now currently playing a paladin, but he's playing a lawful neutral paladin, so it's interesting to see what he's doing with his character. But yeah, he usually plays a crafty spellcaster type. So yeah, that is something Greg would do. He would be like, "Look, I have this tame panther. Sit, blah blah blah. Hey, I want you to obey all his commands when I leave." And the panther would nod his head like, "Okay." And then you leave and you would collect your 100 gold pieces or whatever the heck you could fleece out of people. I bet you some DMs right now would be like, "Don't give my players ideas." So number 8 is an item that I don't feel is broken at all, and I think this is like a really good first level. Like I was suggesting, just to throw it in as a bonus item, and that is number 8, which is the robe of useful items. So the robe has clothes patches of various shapes and colors covering it. While wearing the robe, you can see an action to detach one of its patches, causing it to become the object or creature it represents. Once the last patch is removed, the robe becomes an ordinary garment. The robe has two of each of the following patches. It has a dagger, bullseye, lantern, field and lit, steel mirror, 10-foot pole, 50 feet of hemp rope, and a sack. Then what it has is 44 additional like patches, and the DM can choose a patch or determine them randomly. So before I ask Greg to talk about his uses or what he thinks about this, let's just say what it can do. So on a D100 bag of 1 through 8, bag of 100 gold, 9 through 15, silver coffer, 1 foot long, 6 inches wide and deep, worth 500 gold pieces. 16 through 22, iron door up to 10 feet wide, 10 feet high, barred on one side of your choice, which can be placed in opening you can reach. It conforms to fit the opening, attaching and hinging itself. 10 gems worth 100 gold pieces, 23 through 30, 31 through 44, wooden ladder, 20 foot, 24 feet long, 45 through 51, a riding horse with saddlebags. 52 to 59 is a pit, a cube 10 feet on a side, which you can place on the ground within 10 feet of you. 60 through 68, 4 potions of healing. 69 through 75, a rowboat 12 feet long. 76 through 83 is a spell scroll containing spells of first to third level, so it sounds like it's up to your description. Containing one spell of first to third level. Okay. Thought it was like multiple spells. Like, oh, that's pretty cool. Two massive is 84 through 90, and then the other one's 76 through 83. 91 through 96 is a window 2 feet by 4 feet up to 2 feet deep, which you can place on a vertical surface you can reach. And 97 through 100 is a portable ram. All right, Greg, what do you like about this item?
Well, it's by its name, it's useful. It has a bunch of useful things, and if you're creative with how to use the items, they can be very useful.
Yeah,
It's
as
also a great, it's also a great option for a creative DM to add something that's off the thing, if maybe something story related, or just some weird thing that happens to exist in your world, and just kind of leads to a side quest or it leads to a tangent, or just gives them a weird option which get up to something that you want. Also, with the spells, it gives you an option to put those kind of fun spells, but no one ever takes because they're not quite useful enough, or they're not useful. They're too specific to a situation.
no, that's the first thing I was thinking. I was like, so my suggestion as a DM, and Greg's been a DM too, is that this is the item that you already have ready to go, right? So whenever they find this item, you've already rolled how many patches it's going to have. But no matter what, I would always give them one patch of 4 potions of healing. Now, you could roll multiple ones and they could have that. That's okay. I would also do a spell scroll. I'd do one spell scroll and give them a spell that's usable by someone in the party and for an up and coming event that you have already planned out. Like um, they happen to going to be walking and they find a big lake and there's an island, right? And they want to start exploring deep down under the island, and where the lake is. Well, maybe you can make one of those spells like water breathing or something. Um, I do like Greg's suggestion also, where you can put in another item. Like you could, who's to say you can't make up your own patch? Like a cool patch would be um, a treasure map that that only shows part of the location, right? So now they have to go and investigate and find out where this map is. But it shows the location, but they just don't know exactly where it is. So
or or a small wooden house.
I don't know about
and
that,
then
Greg. I think you're pushing it on that one. A tent,
and then
I
ju-
could see. A
well,
small wooden house.
like a shack, not like a but like a garden shed size thing, and then they can when they finally pull that out, there's someone inside, and that starts something.
Maybe. I mean, there and when it comes to D&D, it's especially if you're the dungeon master, it's up to you to decide, what you want, what you don't. I mean, um like I probably wouldn't go that route, but Greg would. And I do like his idea. It could be interesting. You could play with that even further and be like, so there's a mushroom patch, and it shows a window in and a door in the mushroom, and you're like, what? And then you peel that off, and it turns into somewhat of a giant mushroom, and then out comes like a pixie or something, right? Or it's just a halfling wizard who lives in there. It's it's up to you. It's one of these items that it's very useful, and people get out of hand with this stuff, like an instant pit. Um, there could be a wall, and all of a sudden you want to see what's inside the other side of that wall. You just throw the window, and all of a sudden that should be able to see through. So there's a lot of things you can do. I think it's a great item that does not break the game. Where a bag of tricks can be a little bit out of hand, and a pearl of power, you might have two different spell classes fighting for it. But the robo useful items is great because it gives you a chance to give them like healing potions. They can pull dogs. So that's it. All right. So our next item is the hat of disguise. And hold on. Flip over to the DM's guide because I'm reading all this stuff from there.
It should really be like Superman's glasses of disguise.
No, not Superman. There's no Superman in D&D. Stop it. You got so the running joke in my campaign right now is that they're always trying to bring in sandwiches in D&D. I'm like, there's no sandwich, and so they'll be like, "Can I get a loaf of bread?" And then I'm gonna take my knife and cut it down the middle, and I'm gonna put the meat, and I'm gonna ask for vegetables. I'm like, shut up. You wouldn't, there's no sandwiches in D&D, damn it. So the hat of disguise. Wondrous item, uncommon. While wearing this hat, you can use an action to cast the spell Disguise Self from it at will. The spell ends if the hat is removed. This is a great item, especially if you're going to have your characters going into like the underworld or a dungeon where there's a lot of creatures. Having a scout and have him transform into like a goblin or a bugbear or whatever is can be very useful. What do you like
Well,
about this item, Greg?
this is way too powerful.
You think it is?
Yeah,
Apparently they put uncommon, but it does require attunement.
right. But I mean, what could you do if you could disguise yourself?
Oh, I know what you would do, but
I mean, what one could do. I mean, you could it's like it's the deep fake hat of deep fakes.
yeah, I mean you
You
could
could
go into the
like
town, start committing robberies, and have them look like somebody else.
well, you could totally destroy someone's reputation.
Yeah, that's stuff that Greg would do. I don't like this priest of Saint Cuthbert.
I would not have to disguise up as him and do bad things. He does that all by himself.
I'm sorry, that's an inside joke from our first campaign. They had a problem with a uh, a cleric from Saint Cuthbert.
A corrupt priest.
He
Yeah,
was not a corrupt priest. So
he's
that's the
extorting money
story we're
from
going
his
to save
people.
for another day. So that is the Hat of Disguise. I have it listed at number 7. While you can do a lot of broken and mischievous things, power wise, it does nothing for you, right? So if you turn yourself into looking into a bugbear or any creature, because it does have a size limit you can go up to, um, you don't gain any of those abilities. And that's why it's an uncommon item. Now, I don't. When they made this type of item, I think they should have put probably we'll say a cap of 3 times per day. Would that feel a little bit better for you?
Once a day.
3 times a day, because it just keeps saying you can just cast this spell at will.
Yeah.
So if it's 3 times and then it recharges at dawn, it probably wouldn't be as bad. But this is like a great item for like a thief or a ranger or somebody who's going to be scouting ahead, or a rogue. We don't use thief anymore, but rogue. Someone's going to be scouting ahead. Somebody who can lose himself into the crowd, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons version of Zartan.
What is that at will? Is that like a bonus action?
It just says at will. It doesn't even say bonus action, so I'm
So
assuming it
just
can be a bonus action.
or anything less than that?
Mm, it's
Okay,
kind of vague that way.
I have to make a new character and get one of these. You give this out to me at first level. You do that.
Well, I don't mind giving this to your paladin character right now.
Oh, you wouldn't use it. Give it to.
I can see Greg now. So you see an army moving of 200 bugbears. I charge into them. Wait, what? I've already got my character all rolled up. My new character. So let's move on to number 6. And this is where these items start giving you bonuses and affecting abilities. That's why they're ranked lower. So the Stone of Good Luck. It's a wondrous item, uncommon. It does require attunement. While this polished alligate is on your person, you gain a +1 ability check and saving throw. So I think the saving throw is probably the best. I mean, the ability check is okay, but it's the +1 to your saving throw. In this game, that really can be a big difference.
What's
You
the,
like this item?
is that constant? Like all saving throws and all abilities?
It says a +1 bonus to ability checks and saving throws. So that is
Wow.
all.
Yeah.
And that's why it's
That's
listed at number 6.
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I think that also like an item that's like 3 times a day of this, I'd give out more freely. You
Yeah,
know?
this could be a multiple magical item that you give out at least 2 in your group.
Yeah.
Um, so that's why it is number 6. And then, yeah, it's one of those items. It's not too broken, and at first level, it's great because
Right.
your party could be turned to stone. There's all kinds of things that can happen, and your party could get paralyzed. And having a +1 can be the difference from not having your character die.
It's a good reward for like their completing their first thing
Yeah,
early level because it's really helpful. And
yeah. That's why I suggest any of these items. These should be like just a bonus item you throw in every third encounter, especially through levels first through third. So whatever the treasure says, and then you add one of these. And let's just say it already had a pearl of power, and you were on your third encounter. Well, then I'd be like, well, what about a stone of good luck? Like you just add something else. It's just something to help your group. Another one that is like an item that's probably going to get fought over is number 5, the cloak of protection. We got a funny story we're going to tell about this, but wondrous item, uncommon, does require attunement. You gain +1 to AC and saving throws while you wear this cloak. So this is the better item than the stone because you get your AC and your saving throw.
yeah,
You know.
actually, early levels AC is everything,
hmm
and upping that is great.
So when you throw this in, um, try to make sure that the or as a DM, you try to stay out of the group discussion when they're divvying up treasure. But if a character who's already like first or second level has an AC of 19 or 20, and all of a sudden goes, well, I should get the cloak, so it'll be even much harder to hit me because I'm the tank,
Yep.
you should probably try to kind of nudge away from that because
No, you
no,
give the paladin the cloak.
you give the paladin the cloak. Shut
Yes.
up. Oh, I know our next session's Greg's gonna be like, "Where's my bonus magic cloak?" What? Yeah, we just made a
Hmm.
video. Where's our bonus item?
It's good to give to early level players.
Yeah, we just made a
You're,
video.
you're a good DM, aren't you?
I am. I consider myself a good DM.
So you're gonna give these things to me.
What do you want? A cloak of protection?
I want one of all of them. 10 things. 10 things to give to me.
So yeah, you gotta, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I am kind of behind. I should have implemented this a long time ago, but I just thought about it when when I was thinking about starting to create D&D videos now. So who knows? Maybe after all those kobolds you killed, maybe you guys will find one or two items. Who knows?
Hmm,
Hmm,
maybe.
indeed. All right. So this is number 5. Now number 4 is a great item, and the reason why, it's the wand of magic missiles. So the wand of magic missiles is uncommon. You don't have to be a spellcaster now in 5th edition to use these wands, which I always thought was crazy. Because, back in like 2nd edition, certain classes could only use like mage or spellcaster magical items, which were usually like a thief to mid level, and of course your bard.
Yeah.
And so now you can give this to a fighter. You can give this to whoever. So the wand magic missiles. This wand has 7 charges. While holding it, you can use an action to expand one or more of its charges to cast a magic missile spell from it. For 1 charge, you can cast the first level version of the spell. You can increase the spell slot by 1 for each additional charge you expand. The weapon regains 1d6 plus 1 expended charges daily at dawn. If you expend the wand's last charge, roll a d20. On a 1, the wand crumbles into ash forever. That's why it's number 4, people. This is such a versatile item, um, and
It's
anybody can use it.
also it's also massively overpowered for first level.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can cast what, 5th level magic missile off the bat.
So you'd blow all your wad in one, but yeah, who knows? Maybe you would need it. Maybe you accidentally picked a fight with an ogre or stumbled onto something that you should
Oh,
have
like
ran, and your party continues to fight it.
missile could split up its targets. So imagine those bugbears.
Yep,
Boom. Like 7 missiles. Boom, 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 boom.
that'd be 7 dead kobolds on average.
And they don't miss.
No, they don't. That's the great part. So it only has 7 charges. So as a DM, you can always, if once the party gets like a little bit too loaded with certain magical items and things are a little bit too easy for them, you just keep hitting them with smaller and smaller encounters where you're just chipping away at their resources until they meet up with something big. And in some cases, they might have already made an enemy who's slowly watching them to begin with and employs this tactic. So,
The other thing as a player you need to know is that you get multiple hits for doing this, like at 5th level or whatever. And if at a magic user, that means 1 concentration check per hit. So if you need to get like somebody doing a constant spell in your group to get that spell canceled, you can give this to somebody who isn't necessarily a spellcaster and let them uh, beat the concentration of the mage because you throw enough dice, they'll fail eventually.
Yeah, this is like a great item for like characters that are not known for melee. Like certain bar classes. Even got the rangers with the sneak class. You do have to, in one sense, kind of gear your character that way, like with the swashbuckler. But what if you don't want to play a swashbuckler? So overall, like I said, great item. Um, but once you start getting into like mid to late levels, um, it's not as OP as it is
Right.
during first through third
Yeah.
encounters. All right, moving on to number 3, the weapon of warning. So the weapon of warning is weapon any uncommon. It does require attunement. That's why it's number 3, and it's pretty much broken at early because this magic weapon warns you of danger. While the weapon is on your person, you have advantage on initiative rolls. In addition, you and any of your companions within 30 feet of you cannot be surprised, except when incapacitated by something other than non magical sleep. The weapon magically awakes you and your companions within range if any of you are sleeping naturally when the combat begins.
Yep. This is great.
This is
This
really
is.
good.
I mean, there's no real advantage to this at all, but it's just helpful for the party.
Yep.
And then if you want to be a fun DM, you can say like, "There's going to be a warning this way. Don't go this way. There's danger. Warning." And then
That
they go through the day and they don't encounter anything, and then somebody trips and it's like, "I told you."
Making it a sentinel being. You could also, to be funny, do make it give it its own personality, where it just not only does it warn you, it warns you of everything. Like you could
Yeah, it's
be
like,
like biting into an apple that looks a little old and be like, "I wouldn't eat that apple if I were you," and you'd be like, "Wait, what? Why not?"
yeah,
There's several things comedically you could do with that and have a little
the,
fun. But
the OCD weapon of warning.
yep. So let's move on to number 2. And number 2 is like a personal favorite of mine. I love getting this item when I was a fighter, and that is the gauntlets of ogre power. So the gauntlets of ogre power. Um, Hold on. All right, gauntlets of ogre power are wondrous item, uncommon, require attunement. Your strength score is 19 while you wear these gauntlets. They have no effect on you if your strength is 19 or higher without them. I think it's a great item to give to a melee or like a monk. Doesn't really
Interesting.
break the game too much. Um, having a 19 strength, some characters can start the game off with a 19 strength.
I don't think I've ever played with these.
These are pretty cool.
Yeah.
So the other fun fact about the gauntlets of ogre power is that if you can get the Hammer of Thunderbolts, which is a weapon small, it's legendary, you gain +1 to attack and damage rolls made with this magical weapon. You're like, wow, legendary, +1 to attack, thanks. Giant Bane requires attunement. You must be wearing a belt of giant strength, any variety, and a gauntlet of ogre power to attune this weapon. The attunement ends if you take off either of those items. While you are attuned to this weapon and holding it, your strength score increases by 4 and can exceed 20, but not by 30. When you roll a 20 on an attack roll made with this weapon against a giant, the giant must succeed on a DC 17 Constitution saving throw or die. Now, most of the time they're going to make it because giants have high Constitution, but it is fun when you do kill a giant that way. The hammer also has 5 charges. While attuned to it, you can expand one charge and make a ranged weapon attack with the hammer, hurling it as if it has been thrown properly within the range of 20 feet and a long range of 60 feet. If the attack hits, the hammer unleashes a thunderclap audible up to 300 feet. So you're pretty much going to let a lot of people know that you're there. The target and every creature within 30 feet of it must succeed on a, once again, DC 17 constitutional save or be stunned until the end of your next turn. The hammer regains 1d4 plus 1 expanded charges daily at dawn. Now, that is a legendary, and it doesn't fit on this list, but I'm telling you, this is an item that you could actually start building up to eventually where if you wanted to have giants in your campaign, you can slowly have a fighter, gain all these pieces. And it's
Mm.
also been nerfed since like second edition, in my opinion. All right, and the last but not least, so number one here, we all know what item this is. For some DMs like myself, it can kind of be a bane because I believe in
All right.
somewhat of encumbrance. Is the bag of holding. Wondrous item, uncommon, no attunement. This bag has an interior space considerably larger than its outside dimensions, roughly 2 feet in diameter at the mouth and 4 feet deep. The bag can hold up to 500 pounds. Does oh, not exceeding the volume of 64 cubic feet. The bag weighs 15 pounds regardless of its contents. Retrieving an item from the bag requires an action. If the bag is overloaded, pierced, or torn, it ruptures and is destroyed, and its contents are shattered in the astral plane. If the bag is turned inside out, its contents spill forth unharmed, but the bag must be put right before it can be used again. Breathing creatures inside the bag can survive up to a number of minutes equal to 10 divided by the number of creatures, minimum 1 minute, after which they begin to suffocate. Now, here's the fun part for people. Placing a bag of holding in an extra dimensional space created by Hayward's Handy Harvest Stack or a portable hole or a similar item instantly destroys both items and opens a gate to the astral plane. The gate's origin, where one item was placed inside another, any creature within 10 feet is sucked through to a random location on the astral plane. The gate then closes. The gate is a one way only and cannot be reopened. That's why this is number one.
Yeah. What was that game where you were buy sacks and put those sacks into sacks and then put those sacks into other sacks? So you kept
Oh, you can't do that anymore.
that was that Ultima Online? One of those games.
Yeah,
Because
I don't think you
you
could
had a
ever do that.
bunch of
But
space.
yeah, now a bag of holding is great. Um, it's just one of those things where if they find a whole bunch of treasure, you're like, well, how much can you carry? And now they have a dilemma of which, how much gold they're
Yeah,
going to really be able to
I
take.
had to leave all those copper pieces at that stupid Minotaur's place.
Yeah, Greg was very sad. They had slain a minotaur back in the caves of chaos and keep on the borderland. And there was a lot of copper, and Greg was trying to grab all the copper, and I stopped him. I said, "Where are you guys going to hold all this stuff?" Like half the group didn't even have bags.
I had bags. I also always have bags.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a top 10 equipment, probably the next one. Because I want to start off like items and stuff that are good for like beginning players. So that's probably going to be our next video, an equipment video. But uh, overall, this is our list. And leave a comment below if you're new to the channel. Hello, thanks for stopping by. Subscribe to help support the channel. What is your favorite item off this list? If you're a DM, what item would you not give out to a first level off this list? Love to hear
Or
from you guys.
what item would you add to the list?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Every DM's going to be different. This is my top 10 list, and I ran it past Greg, and he was like, "Ah, that's cool." So that's it, people. So we're going to start doing more D&D videos, and we will catch you next video.
Bye. See ya.